non-destructive testing introduction. So because what is NDT, why you are going for, because in the entire session, majorly focusing on that, why you are going for a non-destructive testing. So then we will go for that one of the inspection method, that is visual inspection. So let us go to our lecture 2, visual inspection part 1. So I would like to share my screen. So please inform me whether it is shared or not.
But in the fifth semester as an elective, you are having the subject which are advanced mechanics of materials. Basically, as we have discussed in the earlier class, so what is the fundamental difference between mechanics of materials and advanced mechanics of materials? Generally, see, here you have
is it clearly visible? Otherwise, is there any lag?
That we have studied over there. Most of the simplest topics that we have to study even in the advanced mechanics of materials.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But fundamental difference between those two is here we have studied 2-dimensional paper, but in the current subject you will study 3-dimensional paper. And in some of the cases we need to go to the subject.
Sir, please mute that person, sir. It was disturbance.
So let us start. So to begin with, I want to just give you a small introduction about non-destructive testing before we actually begin with the course and the methods. So I think I have discussed in the last class, but I would like to recall the things for better understanding the further classes. So see, majorly defects and flaws can be present inside the component or an engineering systems, and if they are not addressed, if you not address these kind of defects and flaws, they can hamper the performance of any particular component or an engineering system. So that's the reason why the defects can also reduce the life of the component and make them lead to failure if they're not detected and addressed. So that's why we are always trying to detect whatever the defects or maybe flaws or like on the surface or maybe subsurface. So it means it is necessary. Otherwise, obviously, it will affect the performance of the component or engineering systems. And so it is very important to detect these defects to be able to take a collective measures so that the performance of the system is not hampered. So that's why we are always trying to all detect and take corrective measures. Then obviously you can reduce the hampering. So obviously what will happen is you do not end up with the failure in an engineering systems. But the things is, if once a component is made, you cannot destroy it. So that is the major difficulty in any kind of engineering system. Once you made that any kind of component, so to identify it, otherwise you can evaluate its properties. In case of destroyed techniques or methods, you have to destroy the entire component or you have to damage the product component to evaluate its properties. So but here no need to destroy the components. So without destroying the components, you can simply evaluate its properties, where you can easily detect any kind of defects inside or maybe on surface of the component. So here majorly whenever talking about these non-destructive testing, there are two primary objectives of doing NDT. So why are people are going for NDT? So for that majorly they have two major objectives. One is that the quality control is the one major objective, and the second one is that maintenance and health monitoring. So these two are the one of the major objectives why the people are interested towards non-destructive testing. So as you could see here, which listed over here, like in particular slide, as when I told that is to ensure that when you release a component to the market, to the end user, you need to ensure the component is free of defects and flaws. Otherwise, the performance of the component will be seriously affected. So means you have to check the quality of the component before going to the market, or maybe its end user. So means you have to test the component, entire component, whatever the inside defects or maybe on surface defects. All these things you have to measure once it is before reaching to the end user, nothing but our customer. So that is the one important thing. And also we have another kind of objective is there. So what exactly that objective? When the component is being used in particular system, so there are possibilities that some kind of flaws or defects can develop during the service. This everyone know about this particular thing or experienced. Some of the components during the service, they are fail. Like you can see that bolts or nuts, you can see that after certain period of time, they sudden fracture happen due to the fatigue and all the things. Material may get failure. So means you have to check, you have to maintain its health monitoring, you have to cross check that what happens inside the component during the service. So in the particular two cases, either it is a quality control or it may be the maintenance and health monitoring. Here we are not destroying the component. Still, in the quality control, you have to check the entire component before going to the market. And another one is that always check its maintenance as well as the health monitoring while it is in service. So like majorly one of the example is that bridges. So bridges after a certain period of time, bridges may be collapsed. So then you have to cross check that what is the life and what kind of defects may be occurred at what location cracks may be occur. You know that because it is directly experienced by the adverse atmospheres because of acid rains, all the things, corrosion maybe takes place on the bridges and all the things. So then there is a chance to fail you while service. Then you have to check what kind of defects at which particular places defects are there. So all these things you can measure without destroying the component, otherwise called it is without disturbing the component. So that is the one of the major important thing. So, and there are again NDT methods coming to the picture. So wherein during the service condition, so you would able to check and detect if there are any flaws or any damage which is developed in the system, which may affect their performance or life of the system. So then we will talk about different kind of NDT methods. So majorly the NDT or non-destructive testing classified into two categories. One is surface NDT. You can see the left side, it is surface NDT, and other side it is bulk NDT. So this depends on whether the defect or the flaw, whether it is located on the surface or it is located inside the bulk or volume of the component or the material which is being tested. So majorly how we are classified these two different kind of testing methods, it is always depends upon a location of the flaw or defect. If your location, if your defect on surface, then we will call it that one is the surface NDT. So means those kind of testing methods you have to use for detect those flaws or defects. And we have another side that is a bulk NDT method, nothing but here whatever the flaws or defects are there, those will occur inside the component or inside the material. So that is the reason they are classified into two categories, either surface or it is a bulk. So see here, so if you know beforehand that most of your defects are going to be limited on the surface, then you need to select a surface NDT method. If any kind of cracks or like on the surface, then you have to go for surface NDT methods. Otherwise, you have to choose bulk surface method. You know, in sometimes we have like versatile techniques are available or NDT methods are available. With the help of those kind of NDT methods, you can identify or you can detect any flaws, either the flaw is that surface flaw or maybe bulk. So both is possible with the some kind of NDT methods. Similarly, if you know that the defects are going to be inside the material below the surface, then you have to select the bulk or volume NDT methods. So the different methods which are listed over here, you can see there is a different kind of methods and some of them fall under the like first category, nothing but surface NDT method. Some of them will fall under the second category, nothing but bulk or volume. So you can see here, if you consider there is a liquid penetrant. So see here, there is a liquid penetrant. So liquid penetrant is under surface method. And also magnetic particle test and eddy current test. So all these methods will fall under the first category, that is surface NDT method. So all these liquid as well as magnetic particle, eddy current. So eddy current, okay, somewhat it will go to some subsurface level, but generally eddy current method is also used for surface drift. Okay, so and we have another kind of methodology is that is bulk volume NDT methods. You know, even visual is also under surface. Visual also under surface. So whenever you are talking about a bulk surface or bulk or volume methods, then we are going for majorly ultrasonic test. Ultrasonic is a versatile test and this is a very important. And also acoustic emission test and radiography or X-ray. So all these three under bulk and also the red color, which are magnetic particle, liquid penetrant, eddy current, is under surface NDT methods. So here majorly talk about how the NDT like classifications will be there, depends upon their flaws, location of the flaws as well as defects. So we will move on to one of the important and sophisticated method, that is a visual inspection method. So then today our lecture is somewhat focusing about visual inspection method. So everyone experienced this visual inspection method. So I would like to give one example for better understanding what is the visual inspection method. So you please remember your second year. In the second year, you have metallurgy and materials laboratory is there. So in that particular laboratory, so everyone is always try to we are going for spectrography analysis, nothing but how to check its microstructure. So how to identify the microstructure and what kind of phases involved in the material. So for that, you are going for two different kind of methods. Initially we are going for polishing your specimen. So means you would like to remove what kind of scratches may be present over the surface and all the things. You are simply removing by polishing method. So you know the polishing method. So you know that in the polishing method we are using the belt polishing. After that we are going for paper like 1/0, 2/0, emery paper. We are going for that. In that, whenever you want to change from paper 1 to paper 2 like 1/0 to 2/0, then we are checking whether what kind of any kind of scratches over there on the surface. So how you are inspect whether the scratches are there on the specimen. So you are simply using your eye, that you are inspect your specimen with eye. Some of the people are going for what after 1/0, then going for 2/0, 3/0. Whenever you are simply completing the process from 1/4, in between, coarse grain to fine grains. Then obviously what happens, the whatever the scratches are there, that size comes down. Very micro size will comes. Then obviously it is very difficult to identify with eye. So that's why we will take the help one magnifying glass. So we are providing a one big magnifying glass in the laboratory. So with the help of that magnifying glass, once again you cross check the surface of the specimen. You understand then. Now what happens with this magnifying glasses, it will simply magnify the object. Then you can clearly identify any kind of scratches are there. If any kind of scratches, then once again we are going for polishing. Otherwise we are moving to the further process. So I think everyone is experienced one these kind of non-destructive testing, that is a visual inspection testing. So then we will go on to some more details about this visual inspection. So see, sometimes you may also want to take help some kind of visual or optical aids which help to you can to get visualized. So because I already give for example for that, at initial stage we are take only with the help of eye. So after that, why? Because I cannot capture all kind of things, because it is not that much of magnification. We don't have any magnifying chances. So that's why I have good resolution but less magnification. So that's why we will go for another kind of equipment. So we have used different kind of equipment, but in that laboratory we are using that one of the equipment is magnifying lens. So means of course some externally use some equipment to examine our surface. You can easily identify any kind of damage or detect on the surface. You can easily detect and you can easily see that. So that is why this is coming in this list. Also it is and also it is very easily, you can easily conduct this kind of experiments at any time. So but furtherly definitely there is some factors will be affecting on that. So that will also we will discuss what kind of factors affecting on visual inspection method. So but as I said, that is the first thing which the people will do see if any flaws or visible externally. So that we will start with the visual optical method first, and then we will go to the other NDT methods. So that's why majorly we will talk about with one of the sophisticated method. So if it is not possible with the sophisticated methods, if you're not identified some kind of flaws on the surface level, then we have to go for further NDT methods, because this visual inspection method is the one of the cheapest method. Because because why it is the cheapest method? Because you can easily see this with the help of naked eye. Otherwise you can go for some more magnifying lenses. But still, if any kind of complexity places will be there, so which is not possible to see with our not possible to enter the human and all the things, then only we are going for some more techniques like that. You can see on the screen, it is clearly visible. There is one is the boroscope, and also you can go for like robotic crawler systems and all the things. So those with the help of these kind of equipments, we are go to that particular place and inspect the components. So these are all different kind of procedures we are going in visual inspection method. So as I said, the first topic in this particular series or series of lectures will be on this visual inspection method, which means I said that you try to externally on surface of the component or of any kind of part, if you would like to see something visually. So you could simply take the part or take the component and see it well illuminated on that particular area on different portions of all the areas, and you can see first whether you can see something by the naked eye or not. You have to check that whether it is possible by the naked eye, then no problem. Otherwise you have to use some another kind of equipments. So then if you do not see anything by our naked eye, then you can take the help of some visualize some example here clearly mentioned on the screen, like some magnifying lens, which will enhance the visibility of the surface of the component. Magnifying lens, there is a different kind of magnifying lens. There is 10x zoom, you can go for like 20x, 30x, depends upon the lens. So you can detect your defects or flaws inside on the surface of the component. So then we will see about this visual inspection. So majorly the people are thinking about the inspection nothing but we will inspect the component with the help of only the vision, but not only the vision, with the help of here also you can inspect with the help of like touch or smell, anything individually, or it may be a combination. So like that we are going for inspect. So here in visual inspection methods, sometimes we are going with some devices which is not possible the naked eye. So these are all you can see. This is our magnifying lens, and this is the boroscope, and this is robotic crawler systems. So these are all different methods we are different equipments we are using in that. So see, generally almost a specimen can easily examine to determine the accuracy of its fabrication. So see, example I would like to give. Visual inspection can be used to determine whether the part was fabricated to the curved side, that you can easily identify whether that particular part is like fabricated as per the size or not. Why? Because if the size is in terms of macro, then we are easily identified with our eye. But if it is a nano size, and it is very difficult to identify with our eye. So always if it is a macro defects, it is easily identified by the visual inspection technique, and also whether the part is complete. So you can see on the screen there is a diagram. It is an incomplete part, then you can easily identify, yes, the part is not completed fully as per our requirement. So that is the one kind of inspection method. So because here the whatever the flaw and whatever the defect is there, that is in terms of macro size. So that's why you can easily identify. But whenever the size of the component or no, the size of the flaw or defect comes down, then macro to micro and micro to nano, then obviously the flaws are size is very low, then it is very difficult to identify by the visual inspection methods. Whatever the tool you are using that, but it is very difficult. Then definitely how to select some more techniques. Okay. So then you see for visual inspection method, we required some source. One kind of source is like our eye. So with the help of eye only, we are identifying any kind of flaws or defects of the on the surface. And you know that the visual inspection method is not suitable for in identifying defects inside the material. So it is only on surface level. And also if it is in size in the macro size, then only you can easily identify it. So if it is a nano size and it is very difficult to identify, we don't have that much of feasibility in that. So then the human eye is the most valuable NDT tool to identify any defects or flaws, and according to the research and all photographers and scientists, Dr. Roger Clark, he gave the resolution of this particular human eye is around 576 megapixels. So you can simply imagine, or you can simply compare with any kind of like cameras or maybe phone cameras, how much the eye resolution is not. You know, iPhone 7 it is around 12 megapixel, and right now I think coming soon there is a Realme 7. I think it will release around, it will give the 64 megapixel. So see that as comparatively that cameras, our eye the resolution is around 576 megapixel. So how huge it is. So that's why with this particular tool you can easily so detect some flaws or defects on the surface level. So I think hope you people understand up to this. So then I would like to give like one poll question. So please all of you ready for that. So please check. Is it visible?
No, sir.
Okay, you please. So please respond, everyone. So please submit that. Please submit. Only 32 responses are there. So here the attendees is around.
Sir, the question is not visible in
Attendees
the
of
chat box.
46. Please respond.
Sir, the question is not visible in the chat box. Sir, the question is not available in the chat box.
Only 37. Still respond. So in the poll question, I have given the question like that. So identify. So F is missing, I think. So identify bulk or value mandate method. So that one is the ultrasonic. So ultrasonic test, it will one of the versatile method. Here you can identify any kind of surface defects as well as that internal defects also. But you know that liquid penetration test is only surface defects can identify. Even magnetic particle test also the same thing. Okay. So then we will move on to further. Screen is visible. The screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
So please respond anyone whether my screen is visible or not.
Yes, sir, it is
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, it
Please
is visible,
respond
sir.
someone whether screen
Yes, sir, it
is
is.
visible or not.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
So then, okay. So I think we know one of the, and in particularly we talk about visual inspection method. One of the tool is that I. So later we are talking about some list of applications about visual inspection. So those are all. You can identify any kind of mismatch in the parts. So why? Because the mismatch is one kind of macro defect. So you can see there is a one casting component. So in the casting component, that is the mismatch. So if there is a mismatch in a cope and drag, then obviously the final component you may get like this. And also we have another one, that is you can identify any kind of like cracks may be form or like occurs due to the corrosion either or maybe erosion. So due to these reasons you may get corrosion, you may get cracks on the surface. So that you can easily identify by these visual inspection method. So in this particular situations we are going for that because all these applications or defects are under macro level, so you can easily identify it with the eye. And also you know some if you for inspecting any kind of leakages, so due to the due to the corrosion, material loss will be there, otherwise maybe improper joining, uh, then on at that particular situation also leakage may be occurs. So in that particular situations you can go for visual inspection method. Here you can see on the screen there is a diagram for that leakage. You can clearly the water comes out from the particular joint. So and there is another thing, defects in the weldments. Here not only the weldments or any kind of fabrications manufacturing method, either in the defects in the weldments or defects in the casting components or maybe defects in the forming components for any kind of fabrication process. So our outside final product, if any kind of surface defects, then you can easily identify the visual inspection method. So see last one, that is the defects in the weldments. There are two diagrams. This is the one. So you can, this is the one and this is the two. So see on this particular weldment here there is no defects, only this is the one kind of small defect, but remaining is everything is good. Why? Because whenever you see with the naked eye, you consider this is the somewhat very smooth surface. You know, if you are examined with that some more techniques, then you may get some more flaws or defects you may can detect. But you know, see here there is a lot of porosity will be there, no blowholes and all the things. That all these things you can easily visible without any equipment. With the eye only you can easily detect that. So then once you identify, then you can take some corrective measurements. With the help of that, you can reduce the hampering in the performance, as well as that you can improve the life of the components. That is the reason why only we are trying to detect the component. But once you choose the visual inspection method, then definitely you can reduce the cost of the component, because you know that during the manufacturing of any component nowadays inspection cost is very high. You know why? Because everyone want high quality products, so that's why you have to check the quality control. So for that check the quality controls, you have to check surface of the component as well as inside of the component. Then definitely you require high resolution equipments, and so that's why what happens, there is a chance to increasing the cost of the inspection. So then but one of the simple method is visual inspection method. So see, there are some more applications at which applications you can go through this visual inspection. So see, this is the arc burns during the welding. So for that also no need to go for any another equipment, you can easily identify it. And also you can see here some blowholes and porosity, some casting components. You know, there is a short pore, otherwise you call it is like one kind of incomplete component, and there is some inclusions. You can see this is the inclusions takes place here, and this is the mismatch. These are the blowholes and the porosity. So these kind of defects occur during any kind of fabrication process, not only the welding, not only the casting, even the forming also. And we will move on to a very important thing for conducting these kind of NDT techniques. We required lighting as well as the lighting source. So majorly we are conducting and the visible light, around we required 800 to 1000 lux. That one is the illumination. So that much of illumination is required to conduct any kind of visual inspection methods. So for that you have to choose some lighting sources. So that's why there is a different kind of lamps you can go for that. Sometimes you can conduct on sunlight also, no problem. So there is a fluorescent lamps. So as well as you can see that we are regularly using at our home. So those kind of lamps, as well as that high intensity discharge lamps. So with the help of these lamps, you can easily detect. It is always depends upon the lighting source and all the things. It depends upon the what type of defect is there. So majorly, if it is very micro size defects are there, it is not difficult to identify with the incandescent lamps. So that's why we have to go for like high intensity discharge lamps. So always the lighting source is depends upon what kind of defects there are there. How can you are identified the defects is always you can easily predict the defects depends upon the manufacturing method. So if you are going for a casting, then you know that you can easily predict from the casting what kind of surface defects may be get. So if you are going for welding, you can easily predict what kind of defects may be occur. So like that you have to choose different kind of lamps. So then in case of visual inspection method, there is a lot of factors will be affecting on that. So majorly there is some surface condition is the one kind of factor, and physical conditions and environmental factors as well as psychological factors. So all these things will affect on these visual inspection method. See that whenever you are going for consider as surface conditions, cleanliness is very important, because whenever you want to go for inspection, visual inspection, so definitely you have to clean the component. That is a very important factor. So if you not clean properly of your component, obviously what happens, any kind of dirt particles may be present over the surface that may cover your defects of flaws or any kind of cracks. So that is the reason why you can't identify the crack, because the crack is like overlap with the dust particles. So that's why before going to the any kind of inspection, the cleanliness is the one of the major factor, and as well as the color also you have to check, because the color identification is very important to easily detect, depends upon the wavelength. If you are using that red color, any kind of thing, you can easily detect those kind of things. Even the color will plays major role, even that texture also. If it is a plain structure, then you can easily detect your defects, but whenever the texture changes, then it is somewhat difficult to identify the defects. And also physical conditions, nothing but whatever the specimen conditions, how it will be there, any kind of complexity there in the component, then it is somewhat difficult to identify. If it is easily visible, each and every area in the component, then it is very easy. But otherwise, if any complexity there in your component, it is somewhat uh, difficult to identify the defects by using the visual inspection technique. As well as the size and shape is one kind of matter, and also environmental factors, that is the atmosphere as well as the humidity. So these two will also affect the visual inspection method. And the final thing is the very important, that one is the psychological factor. So those who are inspecting, so that inspector, uh, you have to consider their psychological factors, whether it is physically comfort or not, as well as that what about the inspector health condition, as well as that another thing you have to check, it's a fatigue, because some of the inspectors they are worked around. For example, they have a night duty, and again and the next day they have a morning duty. If it is happens like that much of fatigue may be there, then obviously what happens in the morning session, because they don't have any sleep in the night, and the next day definitely he may commit some mistakes. He may accepted some defect pieces. So that is the problem will happens. That's we have to consider all kind of psychological factors for the inspector or technician. So, and in case of visual inspection methods, majorly we have two different kind of visual inspection methods are there. One is that unaided visual inspection, and second one is that aided visual inspection technique. So you know that in case of unaided visual inspection, nothing but you are directly going for inspect the component with our naked eye. So you can, if any kind of cracks or any kind of corrosion layer, any surface porosity or misalignements, those kind of, because those size of the defects or flaws are somewhat macro level, then you can easily identify. You are not take any kind of help of the optical aids, nothing but mirrors or magnifying lens. So you didn't no need to take those kind of help from those equipments. Without those also you can easily identify some defects. So that is called as unaided visual inspection method. Then we have another thing, that is aided visual inspection method. So you can easily understand that here it is like one kind of indirect visual inspection method. Here we are using some optical equipments or optical instruments. So here which is not possible by the naked eye, then with the help of these kind of equipments we can simply identify any kind of flaws or defects on the surface of the component. So I will give some examples for some visual inspection tools. So these are all under aided. So see the mirrors, we are using the mirrors. So you know that because we are talking about mechanical engineering point of view, then so beside that we are talking about like in a medical purposes also. If you are visit any kind of dentist, then how they are inspect our teeth with the help of a small mirror. So if any kind of fungus is there in our teeth, then they are identified with the help of mirrors. So, and also going for another one, magnifying glasses in your metallurgy lab, a lot of people are used this particular thing. Even that microscope also we have used in the metallurgical laboratory. So see, a lot of inspecting methods everyone is experienced in their life. So even the same thing of techniques they are used in industries also. And also we have used them boroscope, endoscope, flexible fibers, and you know that CCTV, CCTV is also one kind of NDT technique, computer enhanced systems. All these things are under aided visual inspection method. And today I would like to cover only mirrors and magnifying lens and some microscope. So in the next class we will talk about boroscope, endoscope. In boroscope also there is a rigid as well as the flexible type, and I think endoscope is also majorly not only in industry purpose, even that we are using in a medical purpose also to detect any kind of ulcer and all the things. We are going for endoscopy technique. So then we will go for a mirrors. So mirrors, and mirrors, everyone you are using that. So that's why we are going for some magnifying lens. So here it is like a concave or spherical mirrors. We are using that mirrors and all the things. So why you are going for these mirrors? Mirror won't like magnifying. Mirror won't magnifying, but we have definitely magnifying glasses will be there. Magnifying glasses will magnify the object. So that is a different, mirror is a different, and magnifying glass is a different. Sometimes the people are using that magnifying mirrors. That is a different thing. So here, these kind of magnifying mirrors are used to magnifying the area which are not accessible to human eye. Majorly, they are using in like dental applications. In case of industries also, the thing is that where it is not accessible to human eye, then definitely have to use some another kind of equipment. So see, we are going for magnifying lens. So everyone know about this magnifying lens. In our metallurgy laboratory, we have talked about these magnifying glasses. So magnifying glasses always depends upon the position where it is being placed in between human eye and that object. You can, the power of magnification, you can go for double, triple. So that is, it depends upon lens and all the things. In case of if you're going for like microscope, so here majorly we are going for optical microscope. So we are not going, even that we have electrons also there. It will give some more magnification in terms of lakhs. But here whatever the optical microscopes, it will give around 10x to 1000x magnification is possible. So see here, this image, understand that you can identify the pit. So these kind of pits, due to corrosion happens, these kind of pits on the surface, but these are all very, very small size. It is very difficult to identify, because you can identify something is happens on the surface, but you can't identify whether it is a pit or something. So that's why you have to go for microscopy tech. Then only you can easily identify what exactly the defect it is. So, and here we are going for up to around 10x to 1000x magnification. So all these things are like different visual inspection methods, and what kind of sources are required for visual inspection. So I hope you are understand about entire visual inspection method up to microscopy techniques. In the next class, we will discuss about some more visual inspection techniques that are boroscope. In boroscope, there is a rigid as well as the flexible, as well as that endoscopy techniques, and also we are going for computer enhanced systems also. Why? Because that whenever you are integrated with the computers, somewhat helpful will be there. So those things we will discuss in the next class. I hope you understand that. Still, if you have any doubts, then you can ask me.